Hello, 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 hello. Hello, good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Harshita, Arju, Prathmesh, Harshini, Khushi, Lakshika, Sabreen, Sujata, Mantu, Jagnoor, Rohina, Sara. Hello, everyone. How are you all? Saurav, Vedika. Can you all see? All right, guys. Fair enough. Okay, so welcome to your preparation of civil services. This is UPSC. Our batch is Prarambh, and now Prarambh is also available in English. Now, my name is Ranchan Kaul. I will be taking Indian economy for you, starting from here, right from the very basics, till about your advanced levels where you'll be ready to write this exam. Now, for many years, I've been in this field. I've been teaching. I've also been mentoring people. And from many years, there was one particular problem that everyone, sometime or the other, would always talk about. What was that problem? The problem was, sir, the foundation course seems to be a little too fast paced. Sir, we did not cover everything that is relevant for this examination, so on and so forth. Now, it is so delightful to me that I am getting this opportunity to take with you Indian economy for a period of 3 years. 3 years is sufficient time for us to go right from the very basics of economics or of economy and then migrate over to a little more advanced concepts, a little more advanced topics, and thereafter start practicing them, both MCQs as well as mains, so that you are extremely ready to write your exam. So firstly, congratulations to everyone who joined the course. And I'm hopeful that from here onwards, we will be taking care of you throughout your journey so that you become very ready for taking this examination head on and eventually emerging out successful. All right. Now, generally speaking, in today's class, what are we going to do? Or generally speaking, what should be your expectation from this batch? Now, the expectation I'm going to be setting up right away, the expectation would be that we will first work upon the basics of economics. This we will do in year one. From year one, from the basics of economics, we will then migrate to chapters which are mentioned in our syllabus. It will be a slightly more advanced course, and this will happen in year two. And after we are done doing both of these, then in year three, we will be getting exam ready, which means we will heavily be focusing on two things: practice as well as revision. Goes without saying that we will be practicing in year one also, we will be practicing in year two also, but in the third year, we'll be very, very intensive in terms of how we have to approach this subject. All right. There are many candidates, many comments talking about, sir, I don't know what NCERT books to read, what NCERT books to buy. Firstly, you don't have to buy any NCERT books. You can download them from free from NCERT's own website. In fact, on PW Only IS English YouTube channel, I have very recently done a video on which NCERTs to cover. So you can watch this video. I think that is the latest video on the channel itself. If you have any doubts regarding which books to consider, right, you can watch that channel too. In fact, there are many more videos that we have also done on the basics of economics. All right. Now, if you think about it, our eventual aim is this, that we have to be ready for the exam itself. And because this is a 3-year course, I don't want you to be, being complacent for these 3 years and actually doing the preparation in the last year itself. We will build on it gradually. This year, we'll be focusing majorly on the basics of economics. All of your questions we will take. How about NCERT? How about other sources? You do not have to worry about any sources right now. Just follow the class. When we are covering basics of economics, here we will of course be covering every relevant NCRT, and not just NCRT, we will be adding so much more. Not just NCRT, also not in the same sequence as is given in NCRT itself, because I believe that sequence is not correct for you to understand the subject. Right? I will of course be tuning that sequence too. I will tell you how will we go about this course, but of course it will thoroughly cover all NCRTs which are relevant. And in addition to NCRTs, I will also give you more theory to work with, more practice questions to work with as well. All right. This is year one. What will be your source? Your source will fundamentally be NCRTs and some bit of class notes. I will also be giving you class notes, and I will also be giving you some practice questions. These practice questions will have 3 levels of difficulty. You will have an easy level of difficulty. You will have intermediate level of difficulty questions, and you will also have very hard questions, because I want you to succeed in this examination. So you can't be complacent. You can't simply think that I know the basics and that should be good enough. No, that's not good enough. You'll have to work on harder questions also, right? There are many aspects of preparation that we have to talk about, which is with respect to making notes, what books to read, what not to read, what is sufficient, what is not sufficient. We will go through each of those details, not on day one, as we go along the course. So what is my plan going to be for the next 20 classes, so to say? We will be working on the basics of economics, and how will I go about it? Understand this here. First thing we will talk about is some bit of microeconomics. After we are done doing microeconomics, we will migrate to a more relevant aspect of preparation, which is macroeconomics. And from macroeconomics, we will eventually cover what is mentioned in your syllabus, which is Indian economy. Please keep in mind that the syllabus for civil services preparation is concerned not with economics, but with Indian economy. This is your syllabus. But for you to understand Indian economy, it will help you so much more if you understand the fundamentals. Some fundamentals of microeconomics are still relevant for this examination. Macroeconomics is extremely relevant. Why? Because they may ask you direct questions, especially in your prelims. Not in mains as much, but in prelims, you will get direct questions from macroeconomics itself. In fact, this year also there was a question on crowding out effect which was asked. So this has to be taken care of extremely well. But eventually, a major chunk of your syllabus is related to Indian economy. That is our ultimate objective. What will we cover in microeconomics? We will cover in microeconomics fundamentals. What will be the fundamentals of microeconomics here? We will talk about the fundamentals of consumption and of production, which is essentially speaking two things: demand. We will understand what supply means. And more importantly, we will understand what markets mean and what is meant by market equilibrium. These three concepts, demand, supply, markets, market equilibrium, if you do not understand this, then your understanding of Indian economy or your understanding of macroeconomics is always going to be incomplete. In course of this lecture, we will discuss many other related topics also. We'll discuss something like elasticity, types of goods, what do we mean by services, so on and so forth. But fundamentally speaking, three things: demand, supply, market equilibrium. Three things. When we are done with microeconomics, the basics, this will be the first 4 or 5 lectures. Thereafter, we will migrate to macroeconomics. What will we cover in macroeconomics? We will cover national income accounting. Here we will talk about the concept of income. What is income? How is it different from what is meant by wealth? We will also then discuss what is meant by national income. We're not talking income of individuals. We're talking about the income of the economy. So what is essentially national income? To understand national income, we will have to understand something called GDP, gross domestic product, gross national product, net domestic products, net national products, and thereafter we will move to national income. This is one aspect we have to cover. Apart from this, very, very important aspect would be money and central banking. What essentially is money? How did money evolve? Is money the same as currency? Is currency the same as money? What is money supply? How does money supply impact any economy? Who controls money supply, if at all? Right? Everything will be covered here itself. You can also call this chapter monetary policy. Once we are done with this, we will cover one very, very important aspect, which is called inflation. What is meant by inflation? What is price level? How do you stabilize price levels? Why is price level important? We will have to understand in inflation. After inflation, what will we cover? We will cover the functions of the government. In a chapter, this chapter we will call public finance management. Starting with what is the economic role behind the formation of the government itself? What is the rationale? Why should the government exist? What is its economic functions? What are its economic roles? Is there any argument for the existence of the government or not? And how does the existence of a government impact any economy? We will discuss budgeting related to the government. We will discuss one very significant power of the government, which is called taxation. And we will also discuss some aspects of what is called public debt. Right? So we'll discuss these three things. You can also call this chapter fiscal policy. Fiscal policy mein, this is what we will be covering: budgeting, taxation, and public debt. Once we are done with this, the next thing we will be covering here will be open economies. Or you can also call this the external sector, which means how do economies interact with the rest of the world? Does India open itself to the rest of the world or not? How does India interact economically speaking with the rest of the world? Do we trade with other countries? What is the impact of this trade? Why do nations trade in the first place? Do we get investments? Do we invest our money abroad? Do we take borrowings from the rest of the world? Do we give money as debt to other countries? Do we receive any aid? What is meant by foreign currency? Why is foreign currency important? How does an economy get foreign currency? What are exchange rates? What are forex reserves? So on and so forth. Everything will be covered in open economy. So this is going to completely take care of your class 12th NCERT macroeconomics. In fact, I will go above and beyond class 12th NCERT macroeconomics. Once we are done with this, once we have the necessary tools of microeconomics and that of macroeconomics, thereafter we will begin the application of these concepts to something which is called Indian economy. And in this foundation course itself, in Prarambh, we are not going to go too deep into Indian economy. We are going to be only covering what has been the status of Indian economy since independence. This is what we'll be covering: the story of Indian economy since 1947 till now. What has happened in India? How has India performed economically speaking? What have been the major roadblocks? What have been the challenges? What have been the issues? Issues of poverty, inequality, issues of unemployment, issues of a stagnating growth sometimes, issues of agriculture, issues of industry, so on and so forth. Why were we forced to liberalize? What happened in Indian economy after liberalization? To understand this aspect of Indian economy, to understand the story of India, you will have to have the necessary tools, one related to micro, the other one related to macroeconomics. This will be our sequence. Number one, some basics of microeconomics. Number two, fundamentals of macroeconomics. And number three is Indian economy. Now, what are the sources for these? Where will we cover these things from? Some people are in the habit of reading books before coming to the class. Some people are in the habit of following the class and thereafter reading books. You can be any type of an aspirant. It does not really matter. What has to be read in the first year? I will tell you this. Now, economics, the basics of economics, you will have to cover only from NCERTs. Only and only from NCERTs. Now, economics starts in NCERTs only from standard 9th. This is where NCRTs start to cover Indian economy. You will have an NCRT in standard 9th, you will have an NCRT in standard 10th, standard 11th, and standard 12th. Does this book have to be covered? Absolutely not. It is completely useless. You don't have to do this. You are not going to be expecting any questions to come from this. This is a really, really diluted version of what an economy means. You can completely skip it. Absolutely no problems. Absolutely no problems. Should you do NCRT 12th? It has some important chapters related to sectors of the economy, related to development, some idea of Indian economic history. Is this necessary? I will say, okay, go on, read this book, not a problem, but don't read this book first. In your order of priority, the first book you have to read is Standard 12th NCRT. Standard 12th. There will be definitely two books here. One will be called Fundamentals of Microeconomics. There is another book which is called Fundamentals of Macroeconomics. Now, do you need fundamentals of microeconomics for this exam? Right? Do you want to cover it from NCRTs? I can tell you, you don't have to go here unless you have a background in economics or unless you are good with maths and graphs in general. If you are not too afraid of picking a book which is very, very mathematical, then go for this. But is it really necessary for your exam? Is it going to serve any purpose? Absolutely not. Right? For your own understanding, for your own peace of mind, for you, not being worried about, oh, I have not covered this book. If you want to, you can. But can you skip it? Yes, you can certainly skip it. Everything which is necessary for microeconomics, I will cover in the class itself. You don't have to worry about that at all. But this book, Fundamentals of Macroeconomics, this book is your Bible for this examination. This book has to be done cover to cover. It's only got 7 chapters. It's a really tiny, very, very patla sa book. You can read it before the classes. You can read it after the classes. That's entirely your wish. If you ask me, I will tell you to read it after the classes, chapter by chapter. As we cover one chapter, you can read this book, right? That will be faster, way faster compared to you reading this book first and then coming to the class. Although I would always and always recommend everyone to first read the book and then come to the class. But because of time constraints, sometimes because of the fear of this examination, because of the fear of the subject, people start to feel a little petrified that if I pick a book, if I don't understand it, that means that there is a problem with me. No, absolutely not. You are just not familiar with the concepts. You're not familiar with the terms. Of course, you're not going to get everything that is written in this book. So if you ask me, follow the lectures first, then pick this book. This experience with this book will be buttery smooth. You will not have to worry at all. Do you have to read standard 12th, 11th NCRT? Absolutely yes. This is about Indian economic development. Now, what should you read first and what later? Priority number 1 has to be given to Fundamentals of Macroeconomics. This is the book you have to read first. Priority number 2 has to be given to Indian economic development, right? Please understand that this is a book written for a class 11th student. This is going to cover the story of India since independence till about the liberalization, privatization and globalization reforms, and in a very, very diluted manner. You will be reading this book only to put a timeline in your head and nothing else. This book does not offer a lot of substance. You do not expect UPSC to ask questions directly from this book. Do you expect UPSC to ask questions from Fundamentals of Macroeconomics? Absolutely yes, but not from this. So in terms of your sources, your primary sources will be NCRTs. Which one? Class 12th ka NCRT, which is Fundamentals of Macroeconomics, and class 11th ka NCRT, which is Indian Economic Development. Which of these two books is more important? This one is far more important. This one is not as important. Now, is NCRT enough? Absolutely not. The other thing I will be giving to you will be class notes. You will also be getting class notes Most of these class notes I will give to you in handwritten formats itself. Not for today, because today is just an introductory class. Starting tomorrow, I will start to give you handwritten notes. These handwritten notes you will download from my Telegram channel. Right? I will give you class notes. I will also give you some practice questions to attempt so that you are thorough with your concept. You also apply your concepts, generally speaking. These will be the only two sources for the first year. You don't have to go above and beyond. You only have to stick to these two sources. First, make sure that your understanding of the basics of economics, micro, macro, both, this is abundantly clear. Because if this is clear, the story of India since independence will be very, very rapid for you to grasp. This is your sequence. Any problem understanding sources? Do you have any problems understanding any sources of these? These are your sources. For first year, only these sources, nothing else, nothing more. All right. Before we pick microeconomics, what are we going to discuss today in today's class? Today's class is simply going to be an introduction to the subject. Which means the objective of today's class is only and only to understand what is the meaning of economics. This will be our objective. Why did I start with this objective? Because even after preparing for years together, if you ask many people what economics means, they will not be able to give you a straight answer to this question. Definitely not. Economic news, economic events. Okay, so there is a person who's asking me, should we be making notes simultaneously? Absolutely not. You only have to focus on the class. If you keep making notes while I am talking, that means you're only focused on noting down what is being said, not on understanding what is being said. So all your attention, everything has to be given to what I am talking about. You only have to focus on the lecture. Like I said, I will be sharing class notes with you. I will be giving it to you separately. So you don't have to make these notes on your own. You can tweak those notes later. But if you want to do simultaneous note making, if you want to like write on your own, that's entirely up to you. I will have absolutely nothing to do with that. All right. If you're going to get your notes on your own itself, then why worry about it? All right. Do not worry about these notes. Like I said, I have given to you what these sources are. Let us first understand this. What is the meaning of economics? Now, like I said, economic news, economic events, they happen all the time. They happen all the time. They make news all the time. And when they make news, people are worried about what caused them. People are worried about what could be the consequences. For instance, in the last few years, you would have seen a lot of news around ethanol blending. How many of you have heard about ethanol blending? Has anyone heard about ethanol blending at all? Have you heard about something called E10 fuels, E20 fuels? Recently, the government gave nod to something called E100 also, which spooked a lot of motor enthusiasts. Are they going to give us only ethanol at petrol pumps? Are we going to get petrol or not? What is going to happen to diesel cars? So on and so forth. You would have heard about this, right? When you hear about these events, these news, the first thing you're worried about is what are the causes? What caused the government to blend ethanol with petrol? Why is the government increasing ethanol blend in petrol? It has gone from E10 to E20. From E20, the government is now focusing on an E28 version, E30. Then they will move to an E100 sometimes also. Eventually, maybe your cars will be running on sugarcane juice. How do we know? So you will be worried about the causes. You will also be thinking about what could be the consequences, because these are the types of questions that the commission asks you. What caused this event? What is going to be the likely consequence of this event? How do we solve this problem? So on and so forth. Now, when you read these news materials, All these causes, consequences, many people fail to understand. Why do they fail to understand this? Because they do not know the underlying principles behind these events. What is causing these events? You will have to have a good grasp on the underlying principles. And since you are new to this subject, many of you, I'm assuming, will be science students. Many of you, I'm assuming, will be arts, but no economics. Many of you will be commerce students, some backing in economics, right? Because you're not familiar with these principles, with these underlying principles, which are causing these things to happen, which is why you fail to understand the news in its entirety. You fail to understand the issue. And what makes your understanding even more complicated is when the newspaper starts to throw jargons at you. All the politics around this news. Or this party is doing that, that party is doing this. You will hear jargon, so on and so forth. It ends up confusing you a lot. It confuses every aspirant a lot. And because it confuses every aspirant a lot, is the reason why aspirants start to be afraid of this subject. You start fearing economics. Oh, because I can't understand what is happening, and UPSC is going to ask me questions, 16 to 20 questions in prelims, 8 questions in mains. How am I going to write them? You start to become fearful of this subject. You start to become afraid of this subject. And the moment you start to become afraid of this subject, you will never love this subject at all because you're afraid at the very outset. Why will you pick a book? You will pick a book thinking that you will not understand it. Of course, it is going to hurt your learning outcomes. I am here to tell you that all these underlying principles behind these events which make global news, regional news, national news, all the underlying principles are extremely simple to understand. They're very, very simple to understand, and that's my job here. My job is to make sure that your principles, that your foundation, that your formative years of preparing economics become easy, that you start to become less and less fearful of this subject and you fall in love with this subject because this subject is about life. That is my task here. My task is to eliminate the fear of this subject from a student's mind. It is extremely simple to understand and it's very, very intuitive. The process of beginning economics begins by understanding what an economy means. You will not be able to understand economics as to what this discipline means. What do we study in this subject unless you understand what an economy means? Firstly, what is an economy? What do we call an economy? Is anyone amongst you somebody who has some background in economics or some background in commerce? Anyone? Is there anybody in this class watching it who has some background in economics, some background in commerce, who can tell me what an economy means? What really is an economy? Nobody? Right? Anybody who can give me some answer on what an economy means? Economy hoti kya hai? Aditya is saying it's a system through which we earn money. Sara is saying it's a social relationship. Pavitran is saying, yeah, my background, but he has not told me what economy basically means. Somebody is saying how goods and services are produced. Sahin is saying how goods and services are produced. Neha is saying an economy is a large interconnected system of producing, consuming and trading goods and services. Absolutely correct. If you ask anybody what an economy means, a most simplistic definition of economy will be this. They will say economy is a system of production. It is a system of distribution and a system of consumption of goods and services that we use in daily life. anyone amongst you who has ever covered economics in school, maybe in college, if you are asked this question, what an economy means, your straight up answer would be this: an economy is a system of production, distribution, consumption of goods and services that we use in daily life. Are you correct? When you say this, that an economy is this, are you correct? Well, the answer is yes and no, both. You are correct, but you are not comprehensively correct about it. Yes, an economy is a system of production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services which are required for your daily life. Sure. But let me ask you a question. Have you heard about this thing called the Swarglok? How many of you have heard about this concept of Swarg? Those of you who come from Abrahamic faiths, have you heard of something called the Garden of Eden? I'm sure anyone amongst you, right, who has grown up in an Indian household will definitely know the concept of Swarglok, will definitely know the concept of what is called Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden, of course, not everybody would know, but people who follow Abrahamic religions, they will understand this. Now, in Swarglok, this is essentially speaking a utopian idea. What is the utopian idea? That after life, if you do good deeds on this planet, you will be transposed to a different world altogether. A world where whatever you need, whatever you want, you will get. Whatever you can think of, whatever is your need, whatever is your want, you will get it. The Garden of Eden is plush with what all? It is plush with the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, so on and so forth. Whatever you ask for, you will get it. Things are being produced here also. Things are being distributed here also. Things, of course, are being consumed here also. Right? Is Swarglok an economy? Is the Garden of Eden, are these economies? Yes or no? If I apply this definition to these two concepts, Swarglok, where whatever you want, you will get. Garden of Eden, whatever you want, you will get. That means things are being produced. Things you will get, that means they are being distributed. And of course, you are getting those things, you will consume those things. Are these economies? YouTube comments are visible to me also. Garden of Eden State. No, it's not the stadium in Calcutta. Okay, now I think you're most likely you're talking in Telugu, so of course I will not understand this. Right? Why are these two not economies? Why are they not economies? The answer is these are not economies. No. Why are they not economies? That is very important to understand. These are not economies because there is no such thing as is called scarcity. The concept of scarcity is just absent in these worlds. They are places of what we call infinite abundance. When we say infinite abundance, what does it mean? Infinite abundance means whatever you need, whatever you want, you will get it. There is no shortage. Because there is no shortage, because there is no scarcity, is the reason why Swarglok is not an economy, Garden of Eden is not an economy. The reality is that on this world, we are constrained by this thing called scarcity. Scarcity is very, very, very important. Why is scarcity important? Scarcity, or what we commonly call shortage, that things are not infinitely available, that things are limited. Why is scarcity important? Think about it. Let me give you a hint. The hint is conflict. The hint is fights. Tell me, what do human beings fight about? Tell me, think about it. What do human beings fight about? What is the source or the cause of most conflict? Human beings fight over land, or you may say human beings fight over property. If your neighbor constructs a house and if his balcony overhangs your garden even by, let's say, 5 inches, your father will not talk to your neighbor. There will be a conflict between you and your neighbor. You will not be allowed to talk to the children of your neighbor. Why? Because his balcony overhangs your piece of land only by 5 inches. Why can't your father just give up these 5 inches? Think about it. Is this a common dispute amongst people or not? Think about it. Imagine a circumstance. It's a hypothetical scenario. You have a house, you have a certain courtyard, you have a garden, and then there is your neighbor. Your neighbor constructs a second floor. His balcony overhangs in your garden by only 5 inches. Will this cause a dispute between your father and your neighbor or not? Yes or no? Right? It's only 5 inches of land, right? Why can't your father give up these 5 inches of land? Because your father cannot just simply push your neighbor's house 5 inches apart. Because land is limited. If your father gives 5 inches to your neighbor, he has 5 inches lesser. Do you know how many court cases are there in India which are pending? Let me give you facts. Let's talk facts here. Give me a wild number. How many court cases are there in India today? Think about it. How many court cases are there in India which are pending? Give me a wild number. Let me tell you the number. The number is 469,50,733. This is the number of pending court cases in India. People are fighting in the courts. How many cases? Roughly 5 crore cases are pending in India. Do you know how many of these cases are cases related to land or property disputes? Do you know how many of them are related to land and property disputes? 20% of court cases. That means roughly 1 crore cases in India. Out of 5 crore, 1 crore cases in India, civil and criminal combined, roughly 1 crore are related to land and property disputes. Why are people fighting over land? Why are people fighting over property? Why are people fighting over this? What is causing this conflict? It is because land is a limited resource. Like I said, if your father becomes a little too forgiving, if he absolves your neighbor that yes, okay, of course you can construct your house however you want, he will have lesser land to himself. Land is a limited resource. The scarcity of land causes this conflict. Think about other things that human beings fight over. What do human beings fight over? Human beings fight over respect also. Right? Do we fight over respect or not? Oh, you did not respect me enough, I'm going to smack you in the face. Do we fight over respect or not? Right? In fact, let me give you a very interesting example. Have you seen billboards? Like big banners which are there on the roadside? Banners which are set up by political parties. Have you seen them? I'm sure if you live in India, one day or the other, you would have definitely seen a banner with political leaders and the event that they're going to organize or congratulating somebody, so on and so forth. Have you seen them or not? Have you seen these billboards or not? Give me an answer, an honest answer. In these banners, you will find that there are multiple leaders. This is leader 1, another leader, leader number 2, and then you will have multiple smaller pictures, smaller heads. The leader who has to be given the most respect will have the highest real estate on the banner. This is a mark of respect. Not every leader is shown equally on that banner. It depends upon how big of a cutting you have of a political leader. That is a mark of respect. Right? Go across and notice banners around your locality. If it has multiple people, you will find that there will be one leader whose picture will be the biggest, followed by somebody whose picture will be slightly shorter than the other leader, and then you will have numerous smaller local leaders. This is a sign of respect. God forbid that if you get every leader's picture the same size, the person who has designed this banner will be fired from his job. Do you know this? If on this banner everybody is shown equally, you will find that heads will roll. Somebody is going to get fired from his job because this is a sign of respect. Why can't everybody be shown equally on this banner? Because the space on this banner is limited. If you have everybody's picture as a life-size picture, what will you type there then? There will be no space left. You are constrained by the amount of by the size of this banner also, as a mark of respect. What do human beings fight over a lot? Love. We fight over affection. Consider a scenario. Your elder brother or your elder sister, she is going to college. Let's say you live in Andhra Pradesh, you live in Kerala, you live in Karnataka, and your elder brother, your elder sister, they have to, let's say, go to Rajasthan to study. Now, your mom will always be worried about what is going to happen to her elder child. All her attention will be diverted towards the elder child. How will the elder child survive? It's a different state. It's a different walk of life. My child, oh so innocent. What is going to happen to him? What is the world going to do to him or her? She will be worried. You as the younger sibling, you will start to feel, does my mother love me a little lesser? Right? You will start complaining to your mother, do you have only one child? Do you only care about her? Does it mean that your mother loves you lesser? Absolutely not. But she has a very limited emotional bandwidth. During this time, she can't give everybody the same attention. She is too worried, too consumed about what is going to happen to your elder sibling. You, on the other hand, are worrying whether my mother loves me a little lesser or not. No, she doesn't love you a little lesser. She just can't give you any attention right now because her emotional bandwidth is also very, very limited. You may end up putting up a fight with your mom. Why do you love me lesser? This causes a lot of conflict. People fight over status. Now, all of you all who are watching this class, all of you all want to become IAS or let's say IFS or IPS, so on and so forth. You are fighting for this or not? Even amongst your friends, there is a fierce competition amongst you all. Now, this thing is associated with a lot of status. An IAS officer has a very high status in Indian society. Why? Why are IAS officers, IFS officers, IPS officers valued so much? If everybody who applied for civil services got to become a civil servant of their choice, do you think IAS will carry the same prestige? Will it carry the same status? Will it carry the same status? Yes or no? If everybody who simply applied for this job, everybody who simply applied for civil services examination, if everybody got to be the officer that they want to be, do you think these services will be valued so much? Absolutely not. What carries the status behind each of these services? The status, the real reason behind this status is that not everybody is going to become an IAS, IPS, and foreign services officer. It's not for everyone. Just because you wish to be an IAS officer does not mean that you will become an IAS officer. There's only a few limited seats. If you're an unreserved category candidate, if you get a rank of 105, you are not going to become an IAS officer. Not at all. There's no chance. There is only a very, very few limited seats. And because the seats are limited is the reason why you are all fighting to become an IAS officer. Do you now understand the concept of scarcity? Do you get this? Do you agree or not? Why is Swargalok, why is the Garden of Eden, why are they not economies? Because these places do not know what scarcity means. They are not limited at all. There is infinite abundance. Whatever you need, whatever you want, you're going to get infinite amounts of it. No holds barred. But on this planet, us measly human beings, we are limited by our capacity to create things. We do not have infinite abundance. We have needs, we have wants, we have unlimited needs and unlimited wants, but the resources to fulfill these needs and wants, they are limited. These are not economies because there's no scarcity. We are an economy because our resources are limited. Why is scarcity relevant? Do you understand this now? What is the relevance of scarcity? What is the relevance of scarcity? Scarcity is the lifeblood of your existence. Why do I say that scarcity is the lifeblood of your existence? Because first thing you have to understand is all our needs, all our wants, they simply cannot be satisfied naturally. All our needs, all our wants, they simply cannot be satisfied naturally. They will be satisfied through things and through activities which have to be produced by someone else. All our needs, all our wants, they simply cannot be satisfied naturally. They will be satisfied through things which have to be produced. Let us think of examples. For example, the mobile phone that you are using, right? The mobile phone that you are using right now, or maybe the laptop that you are using right now, the iPad, the tablet that you are using right now, this mobile phone, this laptop, this tablet has a battery. Most likely, it will be a lithium-ion battery. Now, lithium-ion battery on its own is largely unstable. To prevent this lithium-ion battery from catching fire in your pocket and robbing you of your manhood, there is a stabilizing element which is required. The mobile phone over which you are watching this class or typing whatever you are typing here, this mobile phone carries a battery. The battery is a lithium-ion battery which is unstable, generally speaking. If it is unstable, there is a good chance it may overheat, it may catch fire in your pockets, it will rob you of your manhood. Therefore, this battery has to be stabilized. Do you know what is the stabilizing element? What is used to stabilize this lithium-ion battery? Anybody who can tell me? This stabilizing element is called cobalt. Now, cobalt is not your mobile phone. It's not that if you go and find cobalt, you'll be able to watch a lecture. No. This mobile phone, you're not going to be getting it or digging it from the earth itself. You don't pluck mobile phones from trees. You don't dive into the ocean and at the floor of the ocean you find mobile phones. These are not produced naturally. They will have to be produced by humans, and humans will require resources to produce these items. They will require resources, which means for us to satisfy our needs and wants, things, services, activities, they will have to be produced. Somebody is making it. Somebody is making your mobile phone. Somebody is making this lithium ion battery. Somebody is extracting cobalt, which goes into your mobile phone, keeps it safe. The LED that you are studying under, this white LED that you have, the room in which you are sitting, this white LED that you are using, do you know in this white LED there is a semiconductor microchip? This microchip which makes this LED emit bright white light, do you know it requires something called gallium? Gallium is a semiconductor used in your white LEDs, which means is your white LED, is it found on the roads? Where do you get these white LEDs? Somebody will have to make these white LEDs, and when they are making these white LEDs, they will require this natural resource. This is going to be called gallium. Think about other things. Your mom, your sister, your girlfriend, they all wear gold ornaments, gold jewelry. Do you find gold necklaces? Do you find gold pendants? Do you find gold rings on the roads? Do you dig them out of the sea? Do you pluck them from the trees? Does air get you this? Somebody has to make gold jewelry. Yes or no? You want to look beautiful, you want to look intimidating, you want to look appealing to people, you adorn yourself with jewelry. It's your special day, you want to get married, especially brides, they will want to be decked up in jewelry. Is jewelry available in the nature? Somebody has to make jewelry, and for you to make this jewelry, you will require gold, which is a natural resource. Yes or no? The food that you eat, this edible oil, do you know how much edible oil is consumed in India every year? Make a wild guess. How much edible oil is consumed by India every year? Make a wild guess. How much edible oil does India use every year? Any wild guess? Let's see from you coming. Let's see how aware you are of your existence. How much edible oil does India consume every year? Say saying 1000 crore liters. 19 to 24 kg. That's it. India consumes 20 to 25 million metric tons of edible oil every year. The samosas that you get, the non-vegetarian or vegetarian food that you fry, the chips that you eat, everything requires edible oil. In fact, fat from this edible oil is what adds taste to your food. India consumes 20 to 25 million metric tons of edible oil every year. And do you know that around 50% of this is something called palm oil? It is something called palm oil. 50% of it. Which means for us to consume food, for us to cook food, we will require something of a natural resource. This natural resource, let's say, is palm oil. India has a food security program. This is called National Food Security Act, where we feed 100 crore people every month. 100 crore people, we give them 5 kgs of food grains every month, per person per month. Can you imagine the scale? 100 crore people in India get government assistance in the form of subsidized grains, 5 kg to 100 crore people every year. This would not have been possible for us without any production. India produces roughly 350 million metric tons of food grains every year. For this bumper production to happen, we require something called a fertilizer. One of the most commonly used fertilizers is DAP. DAP is called diammonium phosphate. Many farmers in India are able to produce far more than their own requirements because they fertilize their soil using these inorganic fertilizers. This one is called DAP, diammonium phosphate. For you to make diammonium phosphate, you require something called rock phosphate. Rock phosphate is a natural resource. It is a natural resource. Now think about it. All our needs and wants, they cannot simply be satisfied naturally. They will be satisfied through goods and services which have to be produced by somebody. And in this production, we will definitely require natural resources, and our natural resources are limited. Now, let me give you a shocker. In all the mobile phones which have a lithium ion battery which contains cobalt, do you know how much of a commercially viable cobalt is produced in India? Nikhil, it is million metric tons. It's the same as million tons. Ek hi baat hai. Do you know how much cobalt is produced by India? How much cobalt does India have? What is the amount of commercially viable cobalt that India produces? The answer is zero. Zero. It is zero. Do you know 70% of Earth's cobalt, 70% of Earth's cobalt is only in one country called Congo. 70% of world's cobalt which fires your batteries is present only in one country which is called Congo, and Congo is a politically unstable country. God forbid something happens in Congo, some conflict happens in Congo, some war happens in Congo, or a country tries to capture Congo, so on and so forth. What is going to happen to your mobile phones? What is going to happen to your laptops? What is going to happen to the prices? What is going to happen to them? Think about it. There was a war that happened between US and Iran, US, Israel and Iran. Immediately there were concerns about what is going to happen to the prices of fuels. There will be a massive price hike. Massive price hike because of this. Let me shock you a little bit more. Okay, like I said, in this smart LED that you use, in this white LED that you use, for the diodes to emit bright white light, they require something called gallium. Do you know how much gallium India produces? Do you know how much gallium India produces? Make a wild guess. How much gallium does India produce? The answer is again zero. 99.7% of gallium is controlled only by one country, which is called China. 99.7% of raw gallium is controlled by China, which is why, can you pick up a fight with China tomorrow? Can you pick up a fight with China tomorrow? 99.7% of gallium comes from China itself. If you pick up a fight with China tomorrow, China is going to restrict its export of gallium to you, You will then be forced to use a yellow bulb, the filament bulb in your house, which will be 100 watts. A smart LED is only 9 watts, 12 watts. You will require those yellow lights. They are 100 watts each. Your energy consumption is going to increase so much more. Can you pick up a fight with China? You are dependent on China. Gold. Let me give you one more shocker. Do you know which is the largest reserve of private gold in the world? When I say private gold means gold which is not held by any institution, especially the government. Do you know who or where is the largest reserves of private gold? Gold which is privately held by people. Where is it? It is Indian women. The largest reserves of private gold in the world is Indian women. Indian women hold 25 to 27,000 tons of gold. 25 to 27,000 tons of gold is held in Indian families. This is our cultural obsession with gold. We are the largest private reserve or largest reserves of private gold in the world. It's our women. Private gold. Do you know how much gold does India import every year? We import 700 to 800 tons of gold every year. This is the amount of gold that we import every year. Do you know how much do we produce from our own soil? How much gold does India produce on its own? Gold is sacred for us. Gold is something which is culturally symbolic for our country. No marriage in India happens without gold. That means every year there will be so many marriages that happen in the country, obviously because of our population. There'll be so much gold which will be required. Do you know how much gold we produce every year from our own? We produce 1 to 2 tons only. Only 1 to 2 tons of gold we produce from our own deposits. Only 1 to 2. If your understanding of India and if your understanding of the world is shaped by movies, then you would think of this movie called KGF. Do you know what KGF stands for? KGF stands for Kolar Gold Fields. Karnataka mein, there is something called Kolar Gold Fields. You will look at that movie and you will think India, of course, has the biggest reserves of gold in the world. Absolutely not. We only make 1 to 2 tons every year of our requirements. We have to import 700 to 800 tons of gold from the rest of the world, making it the second biggest import bill for India. This is gold. Now, edible oil, something which is very fundamental. We can live without jewelry, but we can't live without food. Edible oil, India consumes 20 to 25 million metric tons of edible oil every year. 20 to 25 million metric tons, of which 50% is palm oil. Do you know how much palm oil do we produce of our own requirements? We produce less than 5% of our own requirements. 95% of our palm oil is imported. And it is imported only from 2 countries, Indonesia and Malaysia. God forbid, if the presidents or whoever is the premier of Indonesia and Malaysia, if they decide to pick a fight with India, you're not going to be getting your samosas. You're not going to be able to cook your food. Can you understand this? For you to cook food, you will require oil. Half of the oil that we use for cooking purposes is palm oil. We only make 5% of palm oil on our own. We have to import 95% of palm oil. 99.7% of it is imported only from 2 countries, which is Indonesia and Malaysia. Only from 2 countries. Can you pick up a fight with Indonesia and Malaysia? Can you do that? Do you imagine this? Do you know the fertilizer that we use, DAP, which is diammonium phosphate? Diammonium phosphate requires rock phosphate, and rock phosphate, 70% of rock phosphate comes from only one country, which is called Morocco. Only from one country. Which means, is scarcity having to play any role in our behavior, in our decisions or not? Now, do you understand why scarcity is important? Do you now understand why scarcity is important? From where does India get rest of the gold? India imports the rest of the gold. It comes from Switzerland. Some part comes from this country in Africa, if I'm not mistaken, Ghana. Right? There are many reserves of gold across the world. Do you now understand why scarcity is important? Scarcity is important because scarcity is going to control everything. It controls your life. Scarcity simply means that we cannot have everything. We simply cannot have everything. Scarcity forces people to make choices. It is scarcity of, let us say, gallium, which makes India dependent upon China. So if China is an aggressor in context of a border dispute with India, India cannot simply pick up a fight with China because India is also dependent on China for something. The resource that we need is so limited and it is majorly being controlled by a country called China. Isn't it tying your hands? Scarcity influences everything in your life. Everything is influenced by scarcity. Get this? You may wonder what happens because China was an aggressor in Doklam. Why does India not pick up a fight with China tomorrow? And you will have to understand that this is not how the world works. We are dependent on others because for us to produce everything that we need, we do not have enough resources. We are constrained by a scarcity of resources. Get this? Scarcity simply means that we cannot have everything. Scarcity forces us to make choices. And it forces everyone. It forces individuals. It forces groups. It forces firms. It forces government. Scarcity forces everyone to make a choice. Let me give you an example. Your need or your want, let us say, is to clear UPSC. You also want to enjoy your time. We are human beings. Of course, we have many needs, many wants. We want to enjoy our time. We also want to clear UPSC civil services. Amongst the many resources that you have, one resource is time. And time is a limited resource. All of you all who are looking or who are typing random comments on YouTube videos here are essentially wasting your time. What you will become at the age of 60, whether you will be proud of your achievements or not, how wealthy you will be, how much more accomplished you will be, is shaped by your 20s. Your 20s are your formative years. As you progress ahead in life, the opportunities are only going to close down on you. Your opportunities will not expand, they will actually shrink. Everyone amongst you has got 10 years to make or mar your life. 10 years, your formative 20s, your time is limited. Because you face scarcity of time is the reason why you can't have both of this. You only have 24 hours in a day. You cannot both enjoy this time as well as watch the class and clear civil services. No, you will have to make a choice. You will have to decide which of these is more important for you. If you want to chill most of the time, of course, you will not be able to clear civil services because you're wasting your time away on something else. And if you want to clear civil services, of course, you will have very little time to enjoy or for you to chill. Because time ka constraint, time ka restrictedness, time ki scarcity, it is forcing you to make a choice. You cannot have everything. You will have to decide. You will have to make a choice, this or this. More of this means less of this, or more of this means less of this. That means individuals, we are constrained by scarcity. Not just individuals, groups, households. Households want to be prosperous. Households want a better standard of living. This is their need or this is their want. Everybody wants to live a luxurious life. Every household wants prosperity. But the constraint that your parents are facing is the constraint of money. They have limited money to spend. So they have to decide whether they want to invest this money in building a big house, on a big car, or whether they want to invest this money in their future, in their children. Because the more money you invest in building a house, in getting nice luxurious cars, the lesser money you will have to invest in your children who are going to be the earners of income in future. They are limited by money also. Think about it. The government has multiple end uses. The government wants to keep every citizen safe. This is the foremost objective of any government. The government also wants that all people will be educated, should be educated. The government wants a healthy citizenry. Good health is also an objective of the government. The government wants that everybody should get basic amenities of life. Clean environment, good housing conditions, good roads, clean water to drink, potable water to drink. These are all the objectives of the government. This is the need, the wants of the government. The government is also limited by the amount of money that it has. Government has limited resources. Government has limited money. So government will have to decide whether they want to go for safety first. If government spends all its money on building, let's say, BrahMos missiles in the country, if government spends all its money on acquiring Rafales, F-15s, F-16s, F-35s, the government will have less and less money to invest in these three. Defense is a costly venture. If you want to buy so many missiles, if you want to buy all the modern artillery, if you want everybody to have the best possible artillery ammunition, you'll have to spend a lot of money there. And if you spend a lot of money only on safety, other objectives become compromised. You cannot have everything. Do you get this? Everyone faces scarcity. Be it individuals like you, be it groups like your family, like the household, be it the government. Everybody is constrained. Everybody has limited resources. Because everybody has limited resources, they are forced to make choices. They cannot have everything. The government cannot have everything. The government will be forced to make a choice. How much of this, how much of this, how much of this, and how much of this? You will have to make a choice. How much can you chill? How much can you prepare? Your father will have to make a choice. Does he want to only build property or does he also want to invest in the future of his children? Scarcity compels us to make choices. And what is economics? Economics is, simply speaking, the logic behind these choices. We are all economizing. We are all facing scarcity. We are all facing constraints. We have many needs. We have many wants, but the resources to satisfy those needs and wants are limited. Therefore, we have to optimally allocate those resources so that we maximize the end outcome for everyone. That is what economics is all about. That is what economics is all about. Many people amongst you will think economics is about money. No, economics is about this. Economics is the study of scarcity. In fact, this definition was given by a British economist. This British economist was called Lionel Robbins. Lionel Robbins decides or defines economy as the study of scarcity or the study of scarce resources that have alternate uses. This is how he defined scarcity. Sahil, you will get notes. And you will get notes from me only. Focus on understanding. What is economics? Economics is the study of scarcity or the study of scarce resources which have alternate uses. Now, this part we have to understand. It is not just scarcity which is tying us up. It is the fact that our resources have multiple uses. For example, your resource, which is time has multiple uses. You can use this time to watch this class, to form your understanding of economics. You can also use this time to chill. When you think about government's money or your parents' money, money has multiple uses. You can buy assets with money. You can invest this money in your children's education. Many resources have multiple uses. For example, when you think about resources such as milk. Now, milk can be consumed raw. Milk is also used to make sweets. Milk is used to make some chocolates also. Milk is where you are going to get your ice creams from. The same milk, multiple uses. When you think about wood, wood can be used to make doors. Wood can be used to make windows. Wood can be used to make your furniture. Wood can also go in construction. Wood is also used to make cricket bats. When you think about iron, from iron you make steel. Steel is used in shaving blades. Steel is also used in bikes. Steel is also used in cars, so on and so forth. Not only are we facing scarcity of resources, these resources also have alternate uses. That means we will be forced to make a choice about how much milk is going to go towards making simply raw milk, how many sweets should be made, how many chocolates should be made, how much milk should go towards making ice creams. Somebody will have to decide how many doors should we make from the limited wood that we have, how many windows, how much furniture, how much wood should go in construction, how many cricket bats have to be made, because they are all made from a single resource which is wood, and wood is limited. You will have to decide how much of iron will go towards shaving blades, how much of iron will go towards bikes, how much of iron will go towards cars. These important decisions are driven by scarcity of resources which have alternate uses. And this is what Lionel Robbins talks about. He says economics is nothing, it's a study of scarcity, the scarcity of resources which have alternative uses. Life would have been very simple if resources only had one use. If milk was only consumed raw, then we will not have as much problem about scarcity. But because milk has multiple uses, milk will go towards ice cream, it will go towards butter, it will go towards cheese, it will go towards sweets, it will go towards chocolates, it can be consumed raw. Because it has multiple alternate uses, somebody will have to decide how much raw milk should be produced, how much milk should go towards chocolates, how much milk should be used in sweets, how much milk should be used to make cheese, how much milk should go towards ice creams. These are all very critical decisions, very important decisions. This is what economics is all about. The study of scarcity. Any problem understanding this part? Do you get this? Many of you have a very simplified assumption about what economics means, and you think it's the study of money. No, it's not a study of money. It's a study of scarcity of resources. We have to economize. Everybody economizes. Any problems understanding this so far? We will add some much more to our definition. Not only should we be concerned with scarcity of resources and their alternative uses. Yes, this is our concern. Surely this is our concern, but this is not the only concern. Yes, there is a scarcity of resources. Our needs and wants are unlimited. The resources to meet these needs and wants, they are limited. And these resources have alternative uses, which confuses us even more, which makes things more complicated. Therefore, decisions will have to be made. Economics is the logic behind these decisions, surely. Not only does economics study about this, the study of allocation of resources, not only is economics about this, it is also about the consequences of these decisions. This is also what economics studies. Yes, Tejshri is asking, will developed countries also face scarcity? Yes, everybody faces scarcity. Everyone faces scarcity. Why do you think there is conflict in the world? There is conflict in the world because there is scarcity. Why do you think US is almost always worried about its control? Because control is a limited thing. Everyone faces scarcity. Everyone. That's what we said. Economics is what? Economics is the logic behind decisions. Decisions related to the optimal allocation of resources. Yes. But economics is not just this. It does not only study how will we allocate resources to produce the greatest good for everyone. Economics will also study one more thing, which is the consequences of these decisions that we are taking. For example, let me give you and end up this class with one example. Amongst the most resource-starved nations in the world is a country called Japan. In fact, not just Japan, also Switzerland. When we think about natural resources and their abundance, these two are one of the most resource-starved countries in the world. And I will give you other examples of Uruguay and Venezuela. Uruguay and Venezuela are countries which are blessed with natural resources, especially the natural resource which is crude oil. Venezuela, largest reserves of crude oil. Now, one set of countries, it has a terrible shortage of natural resources. Another set of countries, it has abundance of natural resources, but when you look at the standard of living of both of these countries, the standard of living of an average citizen in Japan, of an average citizen in Switzerland, compare it with Uruguay and Venezuela, the standard of living is very high. The standard of living in Venezuela is particularly poor. It is not just about how we make these decisions, how will we allocate resources, the scarce resources that we have. It is also about the decisions and their consequences. Some countries were very wise. They faced very, very terrible scarcity of resources. Despite this, they have both emerged to be developed economies in today's world, while some countries which were blessed with abundance of resources could not really successfully transform the lives of their average citizens. Economics is not just the study of scarcity, the study of scarce resources, and how we optimally allocate those resources, the decisions that we make. Economics is not just this. Economics is also about the consequences of these decisions. Do you get this? Any problem understanding it so far? This is what we have to study. Any problems? Is it clear what are we talking about when we study economics in general? Right? Today's class was basically an introduction to this subject, and we want to start right. We want to start with the best step possible, understand what economics essentially means. Next class, we will talk about what economy means, what economic systems mean, right? We will then proceed to discuss microeconomics, the foundations of it. My name is Ranchan Kaul. The name of my Telegram channel is, I think it is Ranchan Kaul Sir PW Only IS channel, something like this. But because Telegram is banned right now, is the reason why I did not bring that QR code. Tomorrow I will bring that QR code also, so that you just scan the QR code, join the group. Because I think Telegram in India is banned till the 22nd. Right? Today, I think the ban will get lifted. Tomorrow onwards, Telegram is going to start functioning. I hope so. If that does not happen, we will find other ways of connecting with you. But yes, I will share all the notes, so you don't have to worry about notes at all. Right? NCRTs, I will share those notes in the channel itself. You don't have to write any notes. I will give you notes. In fact, I will give you, as far as possible, I will give you handwritten notes itself. All right? So our journey is essentially going to begin from the next class onwards, where we'll start to pick up microeconomics. PW books, which book have you been given? Okay, let me figure it out. Right, let me figure out the proper communication channel with you. Where will we be sharing these notes, and what all can we do? Don't worry about that part. That is going to come to you. Right, let me figure out with the management too, because Telegram, there is a ban. We have to do something about this. Should I have to add these things in notes? No, Sahil, you will find each of these things actually in more details in my notes also. You don't have to worry. Right? You can read NCRTs only. Why do you have to read a compilation? It's the same thing. All right, guys. Tomorrow onwards, your journey towards civil services preparation for Indian economy is going to begin. Please check my doubt. What is your doubt, ZZ? I can't see your doubt. इसको मिनिमाइज कर दोगे यार, मेरा वो छुप रहा है यूट्यूब वाला हटा दो. Okay. Nikhil sir told us to write notes. Okay, I mean, everybody teaches differently, right? So in my class, I will give you these notes, so you don't have to worry. Okay. Fair, okay. Most likely tomorrow onwards, I will give you the link to join the channel also. That's where we'll be sharing notes. I'll give you further more details. NCRT, you can simply read, not a problem. No, it's not needed for economic. You just simply download an NCRT. No? That's good enough. No, you don't have to purchase NCRTs. You don't have to purchase NCRTs. You can simply go to NCRT ka website. If I could show you here, just a minute. Just simply or guest mode mein kar leta hai. just download NCERT, go to NCERT ka website, and okay, this is in Hindi. Where do you get it in English? Why is it in Hindi? See, you will find textbooks PDF 1 to 12. Right? You go here, you select your class, class 12th, then select the subject. Subject for you would be economy, so economics. Then select the book title. You only have to read one, which is Introductory Macroeconomics, and press go. When you press go, you will get this link. Here you download the complete book. When you download the complete book, you will find that there is a zip file. Download the zip file, you'll get your NCERTs. Not a problem. All right. So tomorrow onwards, your journey for civil services preparation begins. And leave Indian economy to me. I will take care of everything. We will discuss things in the class. We will have concept questions. We will have applications. And I will also get you into the habit of writing. All right. अरे NCERT वाला you guys इतना तुम questions पूछ रहे हो पढ़ ही लो. इतना क्या हो गया? If you got your PW NCERT books on economy, then you read those books. Not a problem, guys. You don't have to worry. NCERT वाला पढ़ लो, NCERT ही पढ़ लो, एक ही बात है. It's not going to be a very different thing. All right. See you. Bye-bye. Have fun.